Alright, so in September here, J. Crew from CIG announced some changes to ships. The one that sticks out the most is the Redeemer, because it's losing what people think to be the most of what it's known for, which is durability, etc. But to go over what the changes are, the Redeemer, right here, is losing its size 3 shield generators and having them replaced with 6 size 2s, and the man turrets are going from size 5s down to size 4s. It's got a lot of people pretty upset, so people are very angry about this. However, he also states this, that they're going to be changing the handling on these ships to make it more representative of, well, these nerfs, these changes, right? And people are pretty mad. I'm not. I think this is probably pretty good, and I want to talk about this, and I want to compare this to other ships, and I want to give you the brand new stats for the Redeemer, what's performance-wise, as it currently is on EPTU. Full disclaimer, all this information is possibly going to change, because we all know, LOL Alpha. The first thing I like to do is talk about the size of ships. I think that's a great comparison. Size does matter no matter what your wife tells you, and it's very important to understand that the size determines what components it has in it, firepower, and also player expectation. Most importantly, player expectation. If we look here, these ships all have size 3 shield generators currently. They also all have size 5 weapons. The Redeemer is also losing those. So, let's currently compare the sizes here. As you can see, the Redeemer is significantly smaller than the Corsair and the Constellation Andromeda, despite having more shielding and equal firepower. Now, I know there's something to be said about the crew capacity. The crew is important, and we all know the turrets suck. And that is the key issue here. That's the crux of the entire issue, is that turrets suck. If turrets didn't suck, the Redeemer wouldn't suck as bad as it currently does. But let's stack these up real quick. You can see here the size, it's arguably smaller than the Corsair, especially those big wings. And the Andromeda, same thing. It's a bit smaller, a bit more bulbous in the middle, but overall, it's smaller. Now, let's move on to the next size of ships that is most similar to in its unnerfed form, that being 2 size 3s and the size 5 guns. Let's move on and compare the sizes to these ships. So what do all these ships have in common? It's certainly not the size. They all have 2 size 3 shield generators, and in the case of the A2, size 5 cannons. Look at the size of the Redeemer. It pretty much fits inside the A2, and it takes up only a small portion of the Hammerhead. Do you honestly think that a ship this size should have the same shielding as these 2 ships? You might, and that's fine. I don't. So, if it has size 5 weapons like the A2, and it has size 3 shield generators like the Hammerhead and the A2, but it's small, what is it most similar to in size? Okay, let's find out. The closest ship in size to the Redeemer is without a doubt the Vanguard. If you put these two together, look how similar they are in size. Let's take a look at the side. Not very different. So the Vanguard, real quick, has currently 2 size 2 shield generators and a turret and a main gun, right? Nothing too spectacular. The Redeemer now is going to have 6 size 2s and size 4s. The Redeemer is going to essentially be a bigger Vanguard. But will the performance match? This is probably the part you're waiting for. Let's find out. Right here, we have the current stats for the Redeemer on the EPTU. Matthew has taken this information from the EPTU, and he has made a chart here that compares it to live, to EPTU, and shows you the percent change difference. You can screenshot it here. I don't have to read it all off, but in general, we're looking at minimums of around 30% increase in performance to all the way as high as near 80%. This ship now is far more nimble and is on par with a Vanguard. The Vanguard is slightly more nimble, but the Redeemer is only slightly less nimble. What this means for the Redeemer is that it's going to be able to get its turrets on target, its nose on target, and to be, in general, a much more combat-capable ship. Now, I know that might not be what you are used to or what you expect, but the reality is the Redeemer is the Sonichu of spaceships. It was made with the next great starship thing that the fans created, and it shows. This thing has a troop compartment in it, it's got snacks in it, it's got all kinds of stupid stuff in it. It's a juggernaut, it's upgunned, it's upshielded. It's time for it to be brought back to something that makes more sense given the size. By the way, totally okay to disagree with me. I'll let you know how I envision the Redeemer. For me, I see the Redeemer as a hind. Now, I absolutely hate that the jump seats are at the top of the Redeemer. They should be at the bottom. I don't know if SIG will ever change that. I wish they would. If they put the jump seats at the bottom, this would make sense as an ad hoc drop ship or a fire support ship like the Hind. I'd love to see that. But it had absolutely no business going after and competing with Hammerheads and A2s. And before you say, oh, well, its multi-crew needs to be good, I agree, it does. But the problem is not the ship. You could give this ship all the stats in the world, all the shielding in the world, and all the armor in the world. It will still suck because turrets suck. The Redeemer happens to suck more because of turrets being bad, because it relies on the turrets. Until SIG makes turrets powerful and deadly, like they should be, it'll always be bad, no matter what changes they make to it. So, in conclusion, these are good changes. I support them. I'm looking forward to the new Redeemer. It's just a fatter, beefier Vanguard. If they fix the turrets on all ships, I think this thing is going to be an absolute monster. I really think that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Discord link is on screen right now. Hop on here. Let's have a chat. Take it easy.